Let's discuss this week's training emphasis. So we're going to talk about it in four places. One, sports specific. Two, what we're doing from a strength and conditioning or athletic standpoint. Three, what we're doing from a nutrition standpoint. And then four, what we're doing from like a spiritual, mental standpoint. So first, if we talk sports specific, the sports specific thing that we're talking about is boxing. I am a boxing coach. We'll get back into basketball probably 2026 because I am going to get back into basketball, which is where everything started. But boxing, the sports emphasis for boxing is going to be jab defense, right? Everybody talks about the jab being the most important punch in boxing, which I agree, and you can use it in a bunch of different ways. However, you do also need to learn how to defend the jab. For me, when I talk about defending the jab, it's not just making sure you don't get hit by it, it's countering it. So when I'm cornering and I go ahead and scream jab defense, we're really looking to go ahead and counter. So we're going to work on defending the jab this week. Now, there's three lines of defense that you have, a little bit more, but if we're just talking about overview and what we focus on, what you do with your hands, what you do with your head, and what you do with your feet. So this week, the jab defense emphasis is going to be what we do with our hands. So that is the sport specific emphasis this week, jab defense, and specifically what we're doing with our hands in the aspect of catching counters with the jab. Now, second, we're going to go into what we're doing from a strength and conditioning standpoint. This is going to be the first week of the new training block. If you guys had seen other videos, I said I was on a deload, and most of the people that I train as well, they should have been on a deload as well. But this is going to be the first week of the training block, so we're really focusing on technique. Yes, we are going to be in a particular rep range and in a particular percentage according to our 1 rep max to build strength in that aspect with our compound lifts and then also our complex training. But we really want to dive into what the technique looks like for those particular compound lifts. If you guys want an example of a couple compound lifts that we do, trap bar deadlift, sumo deadlift, single leg landmine RDL, hip thrust, those are a couple examples of a lower body compounds that we do. But the emphasis this week is technique, 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 and technique once again. The third component that we're looking at is nutrition. This week's emphasis nutrition is your timing. Obviously, if we talk about pyramids and working our way down, obviously the amount of calories that you have, then the macronutrients and the micronutrients, and then the timing. But when it comes to training, your food timing is important because you shouldn't be training fasted. I've talked about this before, unless you're a bodybuilder and you have a show coming up, but you want the most out of your training. So in order to get the most of your training, you do want to make sure you fuel properly. So you should be seeing what works for you from a food standpoint, where you feel the most energized, you feel the most mentally ready to get into your exercises, but then also you should be timing on what you eat that makes you feel the best once you're done with your workout. So the timing is really a big emphasis for this week. If you guys are following my system already, we talk about all those things and I suggest meals for you as well. If you want to be part of that system, I'll leave links for you guys. You can message me, DM me, however you want to get in contact with me to join the online program. And if you're in the Orange County area, you can train with me in person. I also have a full 20-week source with a textbook that's coming out in January for you guys. If you guys want early access to that, reach out to me as well. But then now the last component is going to be spiritual for us, right? And so when I talk about spirituality and then the mental aspect of things, it's just making sure that you feel centered on the inside. I'm always going to suggest the Bible. But then also reading, writing, meditation, sitting still with yourself. So this week's emphasis is being still, understanding that the program that you have already planned is more than enough. So all you need to do is just be intentional with what you're doing with that and being still as you go on social media, as you go ahead and talk to your friends, as you go ahead and talk to family, as you talk to other coaches, and they give you a bunch of things that you may need to do according to whatever your goals are. Those can be considered distractions if it takes away from the emphasis of what you're doing for your program. The best way to go ahead and test all this stuff is by actually doing it. Once you're done doing it for the amount of time that you said you were going to do it, now we can go in to get into critiques. But if you scrap the whole plan and make a whole nother one, it's going to be inefficient because now you're going to waste that time making a new plan and then starting that again. And then if you've already been distracted from this plan, it's probably going to happen again. So the spiritual emphasis this week is being still. That is this week's emphasis. I'll have videos for you guys going into detail for each thing that we're doing. But let's get after this week and comments, questions. That's what I make videos on. And I'll see you guys in the next one.